Okay, and we're back. All right, chapter 13, page 176. I think the internet interrupted my live here, so we began again. Um, the mind performs to keep us from wrestling with the experiencing the weight of our self judgment. Plot after storyline, scene after scenario, all created from surviving the looming judgment we can feel but cannot find. Because the mind is divided, it wrestles with the problems while projecting itself from the source. Left unattended, the battle rages within us, while we, surface dwellers, are left victimized by it. We are caught in a double bind. Each scenario our mind creates makes the identity more calcified, more realized and conditioned. This storyline we embrace receives more validation and is the likely default construct we use to build new meaning. Why? Because to the mind, it just makes sense. Even when we win, the victory is short lived and in some ways has made it worse. The mind takes on the shape of your desired construct, solving a problem and simultaneously living with the certainty of a problem only causes the mind to find another reason to suffer. Therefore, you validate the belief you're trying to invalidate by using it to navigate your life. You've created a landmark to navigate, and that landmark becomes the one you require to find your way. The mind leverages any meaning made to store it and make sense of all other meanings. Just like every drop in the ocean is the ocean, so every construct developed becomes a holographics in your mind. Let's consider this in different scenario. Are you able to understand the statement? A coward dies 8,000 deaths? Makes sense now? Of course, a coward will die repeatedly, just as when I'm operating from one of my lower identities. I witness my demise hundreds of times an hour. My coward doesn't stand a chance compared to the lightning fast reaction time of my well associated and referenced victim identity. This still remains part of my work. Our minds flow in story form, and it will run whatever scenario is poised. Just as a tree falls the way it leans, a mind makes stories the way it's programmed. Athletes have used this concept to perform on the field of plays. Performers, when they go on stage, it is consciously using the mind to run the perfect scenario. Napoleon Hill coined the creative vision. By training the mind consciously to run the scenarios you want to experience, you become more likely to experience the specific scenario in real life. Why? Because the mind desires to stick with what it knows. This form of reflecting, imagining different scenarios, and reviewing different possibilities sets us apart from others. What if you only tell yourself stories worth telling? How would you change by changing your story? Playing the hero and not the victim? Stop for a moment and contemplate what the quality of the outcomes you give yourself permission to anticipate. Do you anticipate good days when you wake up? Look at your relationship, such as your work life or your intimate relationships. Take a moment to stop and notice how and what you anticipate in your day to day. Notice the difference between having faith in positive verses and negative outcomes. The story is the framework of all narrative is wired to flow. It answers the question, what's the point? Your mind is always asking the question. Always, every character has a story. Given that you might have multiple identities or perspectives within you, you have multiple stories running through you at any given time. There's no if about it. It's a matter of how you are unconsciously telling yourself a story. Each identity is individual but supports the core. While each identity you possess has unique characteristics, each upholds and enriches your whole. These identities are not isolated, they are interconnected facts which contribute to your overall sense of self. Understanding this interconnectedness allows you to navigate life's complexities with greater ease since you recognize how each identity is a piece of a larger, more intricate puzzle that makes you. This realization is your foundation for deeper insights and transformation. I want to read that part again. Understanding this interconnectedness allows you to navigate life's complexities with greater ease since you recognize how each identity is a piece of a larger, more intricate puzzle that makes up you. This realization is your foundation for the deeper insights and transformation. Just as characters populate the vivid landscapes of tales, our multiple identities dwell within each of the countless constructs we experience through the world. Each of those identities has its individual storyline to which they are committed. Each of them reaches for embodiment and purpose. Notice how each tie into a core storyline, like a giant river you flow in and out of. Hello and welcome. We're on chapter 13 still, trying to get through this book. It's my third go at reading this book, by the way, at least. The internal dance of now we continue craft meanings and interpretations, weaving the threads of experience into the rich tapestry of our experience. Identities become the positions in which we generate our narratives. From the hero to the sage, the lover to the warrior, these characteristics illuminate the multifaceted nature of our being, bringing depth and richness to our mythology. At the heart of this process lies the story structure, an ever present guide that molds perceptions and informs the essence of our being. It is the rut in the road that the tire that your mind is programmed to fall into. Notice the depths to which your mind constantly asks, what's the story here? But you are constantly floating down the river of the story called you in the boat called now. Even with all these other storylines being played out, your body always seems to be in the boat called now. All your momentary narratives tie into the support, a core story you're living out of. Just like any other facet, you have a default. I call this your core story. These stories become the very unconscious fabric of experience. The way we code the very mind is through stories. This creates a story. Weaving tighter and tighter meanings becomes the defense facets of your experience, beliefs and blueprints. But at the core, beliefs are still just stories you no longer question. We all have a core story or a personal mythology. This is the story we constantly tell ourselves. We actively protect it and it's ever evolving. For most people, their core story is developed unconsciously and by default. And since our automatic programming is survival rooted, it becomes a paycheck to paycheck at a hated job so you can pay for things you believe you need to alleviate the suffering caused from working in a job you hate. If your primary identity is one of being a victim, your core story will be based on problems beyond your control. You anticipate and unconsciously create a storyline rooted in the lower identity. You find yourself ignoring truths and somehow you have no control or accept truths with lessons the orientation or value of the truth. You do this by default to support the storyline that you are a victim. Is it the bottom, the button, or the box? In our advanced workshops, seekers stepped onto the sacred carpet designed for deep internal exploration. The person standing on the carpet is both a seeker and a teacher. The guru of the moment can only come through the subjective experience of the story, and there is where the hero is stuck. During one workshop, a teacher delved into the depths of her soul, revealing an identity that had shaped her life in insidious ways, an identity rooted in sense of worthlessness. This identity had a cast of long suffering and shadow through her life, manifesting itself in unhealthy relationship behaviors and shopping addictions, behaviors which left her feeling perpetually defeated. Take me to the construct, I asked, walking beside her as she confronted her internal landscape. She ran the scenario of her story, of her beliefs, and opened herself to her own interpretation. As she stood, tears flowed at her realization of the weight of the buy button. It wasn't merely a click of the mouse or the touch of a pad. Rather, it was a desperate plea from an internalized identity screaming, I'm worthless. The identity had evolved to become corrosive element within her, always whispering, you are here, and here is worthless. Say hello, shadow. This woman, this seeker and teacher, received the message not one her parents intentionally delivered, yet through her own generational shadow. They taught her that her worth was tied to material things. This led to a cycle of buying to feel good enough, only to be crushed by the arrival of each package, a tangible manifestation of her internal sense of worthlessness. Each package confirmed her deepest fears further, entrenching her in a cycle of self judgment and self sabotage. She would buy from a feeling of being worthless only to end up feeling worthless. Shopper's remorse, buyer's remorse. The system her mind defended, an identity rooted in survival orientated constructs, despite high achievements in her life, she couldn't escape this loop of suffering. Therefore, she unconsciously repeated it. Her mind turned like a hamster wheel, endlessly spinning out, going nowhere. An important note, an external any external worth creates the confirmation of lack. Now, we delve into the real question. Did the allure of the buy button entrap her? Did the momentary relief of buying release the pressure of feeling worthless? Did any inevitable fall arrive with each package delivered? Does the unconscious plotting through both the box and the behavior to create the experience justifying the feeling of worthlessness? The answer is both. She programmed her mind to live out of a loop that mirrored her internal landscape, creating a cycle from which she couldn't break free. The system her mind isn't trying to work against her, rather, it functions as a tool built to help her. I believe the mind is trying to right itself, The nature of projection is an advanced way the mind has to check self defeating meaning. Think of your projection as natural virus protection. It wraps you in the stories you still wrestle with deep in your mind. These stories need tending. You can't solve the issues presented by them in any other way except to turn within and look at the root from which they are projected. You can experience how stuck you are in a story. It's trapped you in a loop of suffering. Everyone has them. It is the nature of being human. By leaning into these loops of suffering, you can uncover your trapped genius, then move to solving problems without all of the unnecessary data. Story happens whether you like it or not. Ask yourself if you're willing to permit yourself to experience the root of your suffering consciously. Are you willing to permit yourself to experience the root of your suffering consciously? That's a good question. Can you look at yourself? Can you ask yourself why? A lot of people can't. A lot of people won't. A lot of people think what they do is perfect. Unlocking genius through creation. One of the oldest myths told is the story of creation itself. Modern man has lost the understanding of how to hear a myth. A myth is a truth told as a lie within the grand theater of the mind, where the narrative facets weaves its enchanting spells, resides a creation myth epitomizing the interplay between your genius and shadow. Picture in your mind the dawn of existence, a time when God resided in solitary splendor, stirred by the profound desire to birth offspring capable of shaping the very fabric of reality. Someone to be his presentation in the coloring of everything between heaven and hell. God embarked on a journey to sacrifice spanning a thousands of years. Immersed in the sacrificial act, God fervently yearned for progeny who would breathe life into the vast expanse of existence. God's yearning would not be denied. Twins would twins would come forth, Omzad and Harim. Ormuzd, the embodiment of sacrifice, radiates with the brilliance of genius. The Latin word genius derives from the older Indo-European root gen, which means to beget or bring forth. This root emphasizes our genius, creative and generative aspects, highlighting its associate with birthing or creating something new. Thus, the root word of genius points to its divine connotations and underlines the idea of genius as a source of originality and innovation. This reflects the unique expression of God or a higher power within an individual's capabilities. On the other hand, Hanuman, veiled in darkness and destruction, symbolizes doubt and the depths of our shadow. The primary tools of shadow are deceit, deception, and misdirection. Hanuman is made up of mind, spirit, and otherwise abstract energy. That Angra, destructive, chaotic, disorderly, inhabiting malign, which a manifestation can be anger, is this the structure of the more extraordinary story we play out as individuals? As the myth unfolds, God, in recognition of the impending birth of the twins, grants sovereignty over creation to the firstborn. Haruman seizes the opportunity, emerges before Ozmad, tearing up the womb and bringing confrontation into the realm. Though Haruman's kinship is limited to finite period, it is within the dynamic interplay that the genius shadow duality finds profound expression. We glean a timeless lesson from the myth. Our journey toward creation accompanies the realization of our genius, necessitating sacrifice. As we embark on an odyssey of self discovery, we must courageously confront shadow, traverse uncertainty and doubt, and embrace the interplay of our inherent genius and also where it still resides in shadow. We must learn to hold the center of sacrifice and doubt to allow creation to come through. Through the transformative process, our genius emerges, illuminating the world with its radiant brilliance. Therefore, let's celebrate the power of the story facet. Within it lies the key to reshaping our realities and our embarking on a quest for self realization. With each story, each character, and each moment of meaning, we unlock the limitless potential to recraft our narrative. It's where genius and shadow dance in harmony. It's where the essence of our unique expression finds its right place in the grand tapestry of existence. I am struck by the profound realization that our lives are not simply a series of random events. Instead, events create a narrative woven into the very fabric of our existence. This narrative is not purely told as story told, it's story lived, the story shaping our reality and our consciousness. It's the holographic blueprint of our being, where each fragment mirrors the totality of our experience. In the historical context, stories have been the catalyst for monumental shifts in consciousness. Take Uncle Tom's Cabin by Harriet Beecher Stowe, for instance. This isn't merely a book, it's a narrative that seeped into the collective consciousness of a nation, stirring a moment, shaking the very foundation of society. It exemplified how a single story could ripple through the minds and hearts of millions, altering the course of our history. This is the power of story. Story is a force with the ability to mold the collective deep conscious, driving humanity towards epochs of change. This story power is not confined to the annals of history. It is alive within each of us. It plays out through the constructs that inhibits our deep conscious. Our personal narratives are the stories we tell ourselves, the stories that define us, and the stories that can either imprison or liberate us. There, they are the constructs of how we live, the plots which unfold in the theater of our minds, and the plots we unconsciously embrace, regardless of the suffering it brings. Within us, each of us lies a story, a narrative etched into the very core of our being. The story is not static, it's dynamic, ever evolving story, fractally intertwined with the collective narrative of humanity. It is the root of our suffering. As we engaged in the sacred practice of shadow work, we are not merely revisiting the chapters of our personal story history. Rather, through our practice, we rewrite the story of our lives. We are uncovering the unconscious scripts that direct our path and choosing, with intention, new narratives to shape our future. Joseph Campbell's body of work has been fundamental in my personal work and has profoundly influenced my understanding of the human experience through his words. Stories are the secret reservoir of value. Change the stories individuals and nations live by and tell themselves, and you change the individuals and nations. Our minds are hardwired for story. It is through our narrative we make sense of the world, finding meaning in chaos, and connect with the deeper truth of our existence. The stories we embrace, the lives we've told ourselves, the meanings we've made can either bind us to the constructs to the past or liberate us into the possibilities of the future. Story is the vessel through which we cultivate our reality, and through shadow work, we author our destiny. Remember, the root word for human being in Arabic is to forget. We programmed to forget. We forget we are made of stories. If we are made of stories, then the way we would move through the world would naturally be made of stories. The loops we experience as a result of the unconscious patterns the mind is programmed to play out. Choosing to remain unconscious to the amount of consciousness running doesn't change reality. You change your reality. Belief. The unexamined life is not worth living. Plato. Within the realm of belief, a captivating dance unfolds, woven in the threads of our unquestioned narratives, the stories anchoring the very fabric of our reality. Have you ever encountered someone firmly declared, "Once my mind is made up"? At that moment, that individual points to the core construct that shapes the essence of their existence. Belief, a centennial at the heart of our being, diligent crafts, polishes, and authenticates meaning until it becomes an unwavering truth, an unspoken agreement between our perception and the universe. It's the certainty. It's as certain. Uh, it's as certain to our mind as is the conviction that the sun will grace us with its presence tomorrow. Picture the emergence of a new day. The sun rises over the horizon. Gentle caress, the sunlight paints the horizons with golden hues. How often do we pause to question the enchanting phenomenon? Rarely, if ever. Instead, we embrace it as an inherently certainty, an unspoken pact between the cosmos and our perception. The rising sun has become an indelible belief, interwoven into the tapestry of our lives. It parallels all the unquestioned stories we hold, narratives which have undergone meticulous scrutiny, verification, and solidification. Then they become unassailable truths within the chambers of our mind. Just as the rising sun illuminates the world, our belief shapes the lens through which we perceive reality. The construct They construct the scaffolding upon which we assemble our understanding of the universe and our intricate place within it. Often operating in the recesses of our consciousness, these beliefs silently steer our thoughts, emotions, and actions, their influence flowing like a gentle current through the river of our lives. Yet, within the vast expanse of belief awaits the untapped reservoir of transformative power. By unraveling the layers of our unquestioned stories, you open a gateway to explore, question, and expand our understanding of reality. Much like the sun casts its light upon the hidden corners, examining your beliefs illuminate the hidden recesses of your psyche. By daring to question what you take for granted, you swing open the door to growth, transformation, and the emergence of fresh perspective. Have you ever had one of those days? Notice how a day takes you on a container for your understanding of meaning. How many people do you know who live for the weekends? They have strung 7 days together to create a space and time where they have chosen to experience similar feelings to those from the week before. But why? Because they hurled themselves through time and space while spiraling around the ball of flame 7 times? The mind, a master of deletion, distortion, and generalizations, operates based on its unwavering faith in the narratives we construct. Yet the sun has never really risen. There is no absolute up. You exist upon a spinning planet hurtling through the space at a dizzying speed of 1,000 miles per hour, simultaneously spiraling through the vast unknown of the universe. The Earth, while orbiting the sun, is part of the grand cosmic dance within the Milky Way galaxy. Our galaxy, along with our solar system, dances its steps within the vast expanse of the universe, and dance to be explored and understood. The concept of up is subjective, rooted in our own individual beliefs, the meaning we assign, and the sensations we associate with the sun's ascent and descent. Remarkably, an entire tapestry of existence hangs upon the threads of this one seemingly innoxious belief. As we embark on this transformative journey together, I invite you to explore the depths of belief and expedition through the landscapes of consciousness, where illumination, introspection, and the freedom reimagine our world awaits. Within the realm of questioning, we shall uncover seeds of possibility, fertile ground for new thoughts, and expand understanding to sprout forth. We will investigate and tend to constructs held at the same level of certainty as the sun is coming up tomorrow. Together, let's navigate uncharted territories. Let's discover where the tapestry of belief unravels and the thread of perceptions are rewoven into the glorious masterpiece of expanded consciousness. Let's ready ourselves for a voyage where the ripples of belief reverberate, reshaping our lives and awakening the extraordinary power that lies dormant within. There is a phenomenon known as the samskara in ancient Hinduism. It emphasizes the impact of our thoughts and actions, highlighting how they become the construct that inform our perspectives of destiny. When you assign meaning to an event or situation, you create a blueprint or imprint of the worldview within a given construct. This blueprint serves as a template that informs the functioning and tuning of your emotional engine. These imprints shape our attitude, behavior, and perceptions, influencing our present and future actions. One famous quote that incorporates the term samskara is the Indian spiritual teacher and philosopher Swami Sivananda. Watch your thoughts, they become your words. Watch your words, they become your actions. Watch your actions, they become habits. Watch your habits, they become your character. Watch your character, it becomes your destiny. For instance, if you internalize the belief that failure equates to not being good enough, this samskara will influence your emotional response and color your perception of yourself. Because you are hijacked to survive, you run from the emotional pain of carrying the backpack of judgment. This causes a shadow, one which you cast on the outside world through projection. You were led to believe answers to the equations are external. That is incorrect. Turning within instead, the fuel that drives the labyrinth of the life is your emotion. This book isn't meant to be read, it's meant to be experienced. That concludes chapter 13. Let's go on with 14. We'll conclude this book. 13, 14 is long. Okay, chapter 14. Chapter 14. Emotion as an evolutionary tool. With shadow work, emotions play a pivotal role in bringing your experience and perceptions to give them the definition and shading we crave. As meaning is made and stored through a construct, the mind operates in moments of awareness rather than a linear time. These moments are woven together, forming the fabric of our experience. The threads record, confirm, then define and inform our existence. Emotions are the fuel emitted from the story that propels us into our next adventure or closes us up to weather the storm. Let's begin by separating your emotional awareness into three signals to give you tools to navigate your work: positive, negative, and neutral. Each signal serves as a unique purpose to help the mind with its core directives, meaning survival, and to evolve all meaning efficiently. Remember, the mind doesn't care whether what it knows is true or not, just whether it's accurate enough to keep us alive. Three types of emotions. Emotions play a vital role in our human experience, serving as evolutionary tools to help us adapt and survive as species. According to Barbara Fredrickson, a broaden to build theory, there are only three primary types of emotional charges: positive, negative, and neutral. Each type serves a distinct purpose and uniquely affects our awareness and perception of the world. I don't use positive and negative to describe good or bad. Look at it as a positive charge attracts and a negative charge resists, like a magnet. Negative isn't bad. Sometimes taking away is what is needed. Negative is the charge that causes us to resist or move away. Positive charges such as joy, love, and gratitude expand our awareness and allows us to experience our surroundings. They cause us to engage and explore with more abandon. Research has shown how experiencing positive emotions broaden our perspective, allowing us to notice more details and nuances in our environment. For example, when we are in a state of love, we may notice vibrant colors, appreciate the beauty in everyday moments, and feel a deeper connection with others. Positive emotions enhance our well being, build psychological resources, and enable us to navigate challenges with resilience and creativity. On the other hand, negative charges like fear and anger serve as a different purpose. Negative doesn't mean punishment. These emotions have a narrow effect, focusing our attention and bad energy on specific threats or challenges. When we experience fear, for instance, our senses become heightened and we become actively or acutely aware of potential environmental dangers. Similarly, anger directs our attention toward perceived violations of our boundaries. Negative emotions, although uncomfortable, play a crucial role in our survival by helping us stay alert, take protective measures, and assert our needs. We identify valuable focal points in our decision making process. When we were cave dwellers and bear stumbled into camp, we had to have a way to short circuit the system to focus resources on the threat at hand. The challenge isn't the negative emotions is bad. It's how we're taught it's bad to feel them. If we have an emotion and tell ourselves it isn't okay to feel that way, we risk lying to ourselves when we feel said specific emotion. Unlearning the negative emotions are wrong is one of the lessons we need to evolve. One particular potent negative emotion is disgust. Disgust serves as a protective mechanism against potential harm we feel disgusted by. Something such as a repulsive smell or taste, or blood or body indistinctly reacts to avoid it. Imagine putting something disgusting in your mouth. What happens to the system that is you? You want to repel it. As we understand how our body keeps score, we'll find how disgust has saved us as a species. But the feeling of internal disgust is more insidious. Think of all the things that disgust you. This powerful emotion is often associated with a deep seated judgment, identifying something is unsafe or contaminated. The emotion of disgust extends beyond the realm of food. We experience disgust towards certain behaviors, ideas, people, whole groups, and aspects of ourselves and others. By exploring our emotional response to disgust, we will gain insight into the underlying judgments and beliefs shaping our experience and are influencing our actions. Think of your awareness like a camera lens. When you zoom in, you focus on certain life variables. The mind is fractal in nature. The problem rooted thinking traps the best of us in a problem rooted experience. But the same is true for positive emotions. When you zoom out, your zooming takes in the horizon and you begin to notice your surroundings. This is a powerful tool you become aware of in a deep conscious programming you experience. You start to assume more of the positive when you train yourself to associate as such. Your emotions led you around at such a level that if you sit back and look at your ROI, you might question why we don't teach this stuff effectively in society. In addition to positive and negative charges, there is a third category, neutral emotions. These emotions puts us in an idle state with no significant charge or intensity. While neutral emotions may not be easy to spot as positive or negative emotions, they still play a role in our emotional landscape. It's important to recognize neutral charges as well. They provide a respite from the highs and lows of life, offering a sense of calm and equilibrium. Before moving forward, we can rest, reflect, and integrate our experience in neutral states. I suspect a whole realm of possibility is waiting to be discovered within neutral charges. It's where we least expect to find the most significant treasures. When first beginning your practice, notice the difference between these three types of emotions can be very liberating. I like to think of negative as constricting and positive as expanding and neutral as rest mode. Check in with yourself right now. What type of emotion do you typically experience? Are you more of a constricting, expanding, or rest mode? Notice how easy it is for you to generate the emotions you are most effective in generating. Huh, where's my timer? Hmm. Oh, there it is. Okay, let's continue. We're continuing with page 192, chapter 14, Turning Within by Steven Twohig. My name is Yanira Pagan. Atlas of Emotions. Chicago School of Psychology asked a group in Mexico City and Chicago to list names of as many emotions as possible freely. The emotions were then categorized as negative, positive, or neutral. Interestingly, people knew more negative emotional words than positive or neutral words. The proportion of the words were 50% negative, 30% positive, and then 20% neutral. As we navigate the vast realm of emotions, we find ourselves confronted with the interesting limitation, the limitation of language itself. While the English language offers an extensive arsenal of approximately 3,000 words to describe our emotions, it seems even this rich lexicon falls short on capturing the full spectrum of our inner experience. To try and traverse this lexicon, we use Elkman's Atlas of Emotions framework. Most emotion research agrees that there are five universal emotions, emotions all humans, no matter where or how we were raised, have in common. This frame gives us the guideposts as we traverse various charges and dive into the depths of our experience. It also provides a wedge we need to slip under the tapestry of our experience to upgrade the systems from which we have been operating. This emotional atlas, composed of anger, sadness, fear, enjoyment, and disgust, guides the vast lands of emotions. For many of us, exploring and understanding these emotions can be enlightening and challenging, especially when we're faced with the often misunderstanding feeling of shame. This is where our promise to be compassionate is vital. It's essential to approach these emotions with curiosity and compassion. Anything less can Anything less than acceptance will spook the insights we wish to tense from our shadow work. And it may take generations for them to resurface again. The first step is to recognize and acknowledge the presence of these emotions within you. Awareness is always a true healer. You can't heal what you don't feel. You can unravel hidden and dormant layers by shining a light on them. Remember, they were hidden and dormant because you kept them imprisoned within you. Now it's time to give yourself permission to feel and release anything you find. Anger, a fury emotion, can ignite within us. Often, anger points to an unmet need for certainty, boundaries being crossed, and a deep rooted frustration. By exploring the underlying causes of your anger, you can channel its energy towards positive charge and transformation. This allows you to guide yourself toward asserting your needs and values. Anger can be the gateway to the warrior archetype when doing identity level work and can point to issues around certainty and boundary issues. Often, anger leads us to deeper feelings because the anger was protecting us from deeper pain. Learning to slip under your anger, you begin to find the rich insights hidden underneath. Sadness, a tender emotion that can wash over us like gentle rain, invites us to honor and express our grief, loss, and heartache. Eckhart Tolle says the first spiritual awakening is the awareness that we have a thought. For me, the waves of unspeakable pain from a heartbreak led me to the realization I had a heart. Because heartbreak hurts, embracing sadness creates space for healing, forgiveness, and releasing emotional burdens weighing us down. Our need tied to sadness is connection. We can find solace in the seeds of renewal through the depths of sadness. Sadness gives us interconnected and opens us up to a richer experience. The archetype one associates with sadness is the lover. Sadness brings us to the awareness of our true power and vulnerability. Fear, a protective emotion, can send tremors through our being, alerts us to potential dangers and threats. Imagine sitting in a pitch black room. Then you hear a rustling over the deep, dark corner. What happens? Every sense you have, focus on the understanding what the shift in your surroundings means. It can bring you an awareness you may overlook when a different state. Fear is the need we meet through uncertainty. My family loves Halloween horror nights at Universal's. We go every year. I, on the other hand, do not. However, I enjoy watching them get scared. For some reason, they dig it as well. Therefore, it works for us. The archetype many associate with fear is the magician. It's the archetype responsible for initiating us into the unknown. Without this part of you, there can be no growth. While fear may sometimes hold you back, it offers growth and expansion opportunities. By leaning into fears, you uncover hidden strengths, resilience, and courage, which propels you toward personal transformation and self empowerment. Remember the saying, if you can't, then you must. Touching what you fear always leads to insights. That's the one place where you almost guarantee to find treasure. Fear is initiator. It's the gateway to the second grace, the grace of illumination. You must be willing to be swallowed by darkness to see the light. The darkness you spark of genius can be born. Enjoyment. An emotion with the power to illuminate our lives, remind us of the beauty and opens us to the joy within and around us. Through embracing happiness, we cultivate gratitude, celebrate our achievements, and find fulfillment in the present moment. Moments of happiness can bring light to the gloomiest existence. Happiness directs us over to savors life's precious moments and nature and nurture our overall well-being. The need I associate with happiness is significance. The archetype is the sovereign, the king or queen or both, who live inside each of us. You are the one you have been waiting for. You are the one you have been waiting for. Your significance is more significant than you'll ever know. Emotions are what gives experience flavor. As you explore our emotions, it is essential to recognize the distinct qualities they possess and their impact on your life. Disgust as an emotion plays a vital role in our ability to identify and avoid potentially harmful and dangerous situations. It arises when the encounter stimuli or experience producing a strong sense of aversion or repulsion within us. This response helps us to stay safe and protected from the potential threats. Some threats are so clear you notice them before you are even aware. Imagine I hand you a thawed pack of meat. Now imagine opening the meat and being struck by the stench of rotten meat. What's the odor like? What's the expression you show such a whiff? Stop here and activate the smell of something foul tasting smelling in your imagination. What is the physical experience of disgust? By recognizing and heeding the signals of disgust, you learn to navigate your environment cautiously and make informed choices for your well being and survival. How might the mind deal with a mental construct similarly charged? More on shame. It's essential to recognize the experience of disgust and how it informs us through our shame. By poking just under the surface of the emotion, you have the opportunity to find some awareness and healing. Although emotions are more energetically baseline, they evolve into feelings once they have taken on some legs. Remember, everything evolves. If you hold on to an emotional charge, all it can do is evolve. You can get cancer or the promise of a newborn baby, all by the emotions you continue to embrace. Everything evolves. Love, for example, is a feeling. Love sits at the gateway to the sacred mother archetype and is the need it activates is the need to contribute beyond oneself. Love is not static. Love is ever evolving. Just like the mind, love will taste different from person to person, and love will change moment by moment. Shame is similar. It will load into our identity facet of the construct we've created. Shame then becomes an association which we use to identify our place within the construct. If we're not careful, shame becomes an addiction and primary landmark of our relationship. In Brene Brown's 2012 TED Talk, Listening to Shame, Brown explains how shame is intensely painful feeling or experiencing of believing we are flawed and therefore unworthy of love and belonging. We fear something we've done or failed to do, an ideal we've not lived up to, or a goal we've not accomplished makes us unworthy of connection. In Brown's view, everyone's experience of shame and the fear of disconnection it carries, except for those who are incapable of empathy. I believe if we identify this feeling of disconnect, it offers us an opportunity to pluck out our shame, uncover insights in the most unlikely places, and therefore lead us to growth. I have found shame to be tied to an unprocessed judgment with the feeling of disgust. In these instances, our mind disconnects from the construct it's running, causing disgust. The survival directive comes online, and the system divides against itself. When we were young and still learning to carry our emotions, the system of our mind had to have a way to carry the chemical cocktail equivalent of an emotional atomic bomb. Our mind system disconnects us from the judgment as self defense mechanisms, causing disgust. Your mind edits and projects certain judgments you carry about yourself due to the perceived weight associated with each judgment. You lie to yourself. Any judgment that is charged too big to carry was dissociated. That feeling is something bad left unsaid, like a cliffhanger you knew was your fault. The mind game of hide and seek blocks the flow of emotion from leaving the body. If the emotion generated felt too big for your system when you were little, why would you ever risk reinvestigating the situation again? As a result, you become frozen in the structure of the judgment instead of being open to feeling the weight of the judgment. The consequence is receiving a twisted and confusing message. Judgment pinches off the flow of love, joy, and care into any construct. This disconnects leads us to an experience many label as shame. This disconnect in our minds can create confusing vacuum like experiences for us. This shows up as a personal conspiracy, making itself known in every area of our lives. I'm going to conclude here for today. Thank you. We'll pick this up another time.